The 2024 NFL Draft is quickly approaching, and with that comes a deluge of risers and fallers, the rising and falling of sleepers for that draft. In this series on this channel, I will be hoping to identify some of the sleepers for the upcoming 2024 NFL Draft and explicate exactly why I think they will be risers leading in to the draft. But real quick first, guys, the NFL Draft is the only thing that I talk about on this channel, so if you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button in order to stick around for future NFL Draft content. And if you want to help me out with what I'm doing on this channel, hitting the like button tells YouTube to share this video with other draft aficionados. Now, let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about wide receiver Dante Cephas, and as far as sleepers go, I don't know if they get much deeper in sleep than this. According to Draft Buzz, he is the 279th overall prospect as well as the 36th overall wide receiver. According to Pro Football Network, he is the 266th overall prospect as well as the 44th overall wide receiver. And according to NFL Mock Draft Database, he is the 270th overall player as well as the 34th overall wide receiver. So why am I talking about him today? Who is Dante Cephas? Well, the 6'1", 186-pound wide receiver reportedly runs a 4.48 40. All of these numbers are at least in the good enough category. Out of high school, he committed to Kent State. And though in his freshman year he had only 4 receptions for 19 yards, and as a sophomore he had 12 receptions for 138 yards, by his junior season he had 82 catches for 1,240 yards and 9 touchdowns. And get this, well, that's good for a 15.1 yard average per reception. But he had a quarterback rating when targeted of 120.6. That was with Dustin Crum throwing him the ball. Dustin Crum was good enough to get a tryout to last through camp with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he then went on to play for the Ottawa Redblacks. But after Crum left, Dante Cephas saw his production fall to 48 catches for 746 yards and 3 touchdowns, but still had a quarterback rating when targeted of 97.8. That was his senior year in college. He is now heading into his super senior year in college, where he is now a transfer, a wide receiver transfer to Penn State, which is notable because the Penn State Nittany Lions currently have 7 wide receivers in the NFL, including Mitchell Tinsley and Parker Washington from this previous year's NFL Draft. It is safe to say that the Lions know what they are doing. They are able to accumulate talent and process that talent, making that talent reach the potential that it has. As for himself, I believe that Dante Cephas might have something of a Jalen Hyatt rise to prominence in this draft. Now, Jalen Hyatt was more favorably viewed going into his final season of college football than is currently Dante Cephas. And Dante Cephas does not quite have blazing speed, but he's fast and he's fast enough, and he puts it on show on the field. But it should also be remembered that Jalen Hyatt looked extremely fast on the field and put up a 4.40 40-yard dash. And Jalen Hyatt is similarly sized at 6 foot 189 pounds. Now, I don't believe that Dante Cephas is going to end up being a first-rounder in the 2024 NFL Draft, but I think he's going to be a top half of the draft guy. I think he's going to be a second or third rounder in the coming NFL Draft. He has that potential, at least. And one thing that that Dante Cephas, has over Jalen Hyatt is that Dante Cephas is good at running routes. Jalen Hyatt was critiqued, and rightfully so, for the fact that he was not all that precise in his route running capabilities. Dante Cephas, on the other hand, has taken the time and worked on that craft, become much better at running routes than he was early in his career. And here's the thing, though Mitchell Tinsley did not get drafted, he was able to find his way into the NFL, being 6'1", 205 pounds, and running a 4.6 40 as part of the UDFA class for the Washington Commanders. If that Penn State coaching staff can put a guy into the NFL that runs a 4.6 40 at wide receiver, I believe they're going to be able to work wonders with a guy who is as fast, is as fluid, and runs the route that is able to run the routes that Dante Cephas is able to run. And at the moment, it seems that Dante Cephas is gearing up to start at the X receiver position for the Penn State Nittany Lions. And he's slated to be catching passes from 6'5", 243-pound, four-star recruit Drew Allar. Drew, for his part, will be new to the starting lineup as well, so it does not appear that he will have any preconditioned notions of who his go-to wide receiver should be. He has, for the most part, no allegiance to any players except for winning. Had he been the starter last year as well, it would be a little bit different. There would be targets that he knew he could count on. He knew he could not. But without those prejudices going into this season, everyone will have an equal shot, and I believe Dante Cephas will emerge as the primary target for that Penn State offense. But Cephas isn't just a guy who has good speed. He's not just a guy who runs good routes. He's a guy that is very, very good with the ball in his hands. And though he is only 186 pounds, he is not afraid to deliver a blow, and he is very difficult to get off of his feet. Oftentimes, now this was against MAC competition, so there's something to be said for that, but oftentimes a cornerback would watch him make the catch, would catch up to him, and then simply hang on to him while Dante Cephas ran another 10 or 15 yards. He is also a hands catcher, which contributes to his ability in these medium-length routes. He is able to hit a comeback route and catch the ball with his hands and then turn upfield, something that a lot of wide receivers coming out of college just catch that ball with their body and immediately get tackled. Dante Cephas does not. He attacks the ball with his hands, ends up with the catch in time to turn and make a move upfield before the coverage has caught up to him. And here's another thing. Though he might only, quote-unquote, only run a 4.48 40, watching him on the field, I 100% expect him to run a 1.52 to 1.49 10-yard split. He has serious get-off ability, and that is what makes those medium-range routes so dangerous, because he's able to flash that immediate speed right off the bat, which makes the cornerback either flip his hips if he is on the ball or extend that cushion if he is off the ball, and that allows the wide receiver to fully exploit whatever route it is that he is running and make the catch, because he will, in that medium range, get separation. Now, as for his catching ability, the one knock on his catching ability, the one time he does not seem to make that hands catch, is when it's an over-the-shoulder grab, which sounds impossible to make an over-the-shoulder body catch, but what he does is he will turn around to cradle the catch and end up with it hitting him in the stomach. It's a weird thing to see, but it's something that is not unfixable. It is something that he can definitely work on, and that those Penn State coaches will absolutely batter out of him. So I do believe that Dante Cephas will end up being a second or third round pick in this coming NFL draft. He has that type of potential anyway. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the NFL draft is the only thing that I talk about on this channel, dropping more and more videos as the draft approaches. So consider hitting that subscribe button in order to stick around for more. And if you want to help me out with what I'm doing here, hitting the like button tells YouTube to share this video with other draft lovers, and I would appreciate that. And as always, I hope to see you for the next one.